Okay, well, I'm very thankful it's another Sabbath, and that we get to reflect on just what everything means about the Sabbath day and just getting closer to our Creator. I would like to continue with the message that we have been given, and we probably should have maybe one more installment after this, and hopefully that we'll go on to something else. But we've been speaking about how certain things are set up in the heavens, and how the spiritual authorities set up the jobs that they're doing. And at this point, what we want to talk about is the bodies, and how the bodies are set up, why they're set up in that manner. Last week we looked at Yahshua choosing those who wouldn't fit into the body that he was going to be using, because you remember that Yahshua had a body previously. That body is called, we refer to that as Eve, but there's a collective Eve. And remember, Eve was the mother of all living, because and Yahshua was, as Adam, was over all that. Well, we strayed in that, and of course, we found ourselves in a lower consciousness and being imprisoned by the very things that we did, and we lost contact of the ability to maintain our lives in this particular dimension that we're in right now. That we find ourselves cut off from everything else. And in it, we think that, the individual is separate from the next individual. Okay, but it wasn't always like that. Well, Yahshua, then we read that Yahshua is at a certain time, he is going to be taking out all those who will not fit in the body that had already been created for him, because remember that you were preordained with him, okay? And remember that the Creator doesn't desire sacrifices and offerings, but a body the Creator has created for you, or for us already. But that body was already functioning here as Adam, when Adam was in this earth, during the time of Adam and Eve. That was a body. So we got to think about this body, because that body was not just one individual functioning as a unit. It was a bunch of people, or a bunch of entities functioning as a single unit. Bring your memories back to the individual in the Grenadines that was possessed by this spirit that was called Legion. Okay? And Legion said, "We are many," but they were functioning as one. Well, when Legion was cast out, if you notice, Legion it was defragmented, or it fragmented and went into a whole bunch of different bodies. Well, if you think about that as Adam, okay, a polarity splitting with Adam, and Adam had all these different entities in Adam, but now they went into different vessels. Okay, when the polarity split, but all of them were going to work in these different vessels under the direction of Adam. But we didn't do that, so we fell to a third density. We descended to a third density. Well, now we're ascending again. Our scripture tells us the only way for us to ascend is for us to have first descended. That's what it said. It says the only way that Yahshua is going to ascend is for him to have first descended into the lower depths. Well, this is the lower depths. We have descended in here too. Okay, so now it's time for us to follow the one who we followed in, to follow that one out. So that one is taken out of out of his kingdom, all those who offend, because what's happening, that same body is going to be created again to go back and finish the job that was being done when everyone fell from the position that we all were dealing with at that time. Okay, so we're looking here, it says, when he comes, we read this last week, we don't have to go there this week, he's going to send forth his Malachim, and they're going to pull out those who are offending. And then you're going to have those who are on the left-hand side of Yahshua, those who are on the right-hand side of Yahshua, and those on the right-hand side of Yahshua, this is going to be those who he's choosing as his body. Those are the ones who are going to be chosen as his body. The ones on the left-hand side, they're not ready to function as that body, because that body is going to function just as your body when your body is well balanced. When you say, leg, let's move to the kitchen, legs are ready to go. When you say, hey, knees bend so I can sit down, knees are bending. When you say, left hand grab this nail, right hand grab this hammer, that's just what's happening. Well, this is the same body. Look at the very same body that you have right now, but look at it as having extensions into other vessels. Okay? And these vessels are doing exactly what your mind, with your bodily extensions, is functioning just in the same manner. Everyone is following the instructions of the one who is on the top, the head. That's all that's really happening. Okay? So, those on the right-hand side of Yahshua, he's going to choose. Those are the ones that are chosen. Now, but he's not going to say who is on his left-hand side and who is on his right-hand side, because that's not his job. Remember, we read the scripture to say who is on my right-hand side and who is on my left-hand side. That's my Father's job. Because Yahshua now, okay, remember he said, I go to prepare a place that where I am in my Father's body, or this is my Father's house, or my Father's kingdom, okay, which is he's in another body, okay, I go to a place to prepare a place in my Father's body, so where I am in awareness and consciousness, you will be also. So what he's going to be doing is working as an extension of the Father. That's what his body is going to do. So his Father now is going to put the members in his body as the Father pleases. So to say who is going to be on the right-hand side and who is on the left-hand side, Yahshua says that's not for me. That's going to be for my Father to say. Okay? So this is where we're at right now. Okay, so when Yahshua comes now, the dead, those who are already gone or asleep, are going to be coming, getting up, and those who are living in the earth at the same time, those individuals also are going to start waking up. Now, remember, those who have left this earth, they haven't necessarily attached themselves to Yahshua either. Not just yet. Not in the manner in which they're all going to be in the same consciousness and having an office with Yahshua as a body, and the Father choosing who is on the right-hand side and who's on the left-hand side. That hasn't taken place yet, because they, without us, can take the offices. So he has to get his body totally together. So the dead in Messiah is going to be raised first. Let's go over to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Okay, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And we're going to read verse 10. Okay? I'm sorry. Let's go to verse 16. Okay? So here it says, Yahshua himself will descend from heaven with a loud voice of the Malach Gadol. Now, this is supposed to be Gabriel. Now, if you know what's happening right here, Gabriel is a messenger. The messenger really comes down to the 24 elders, and Gabriel is over those. Okay, or David is over the showbread table. Gabriel is over that showbread table. So the showbread table is the food, it's the message. So now, or it represents the message. That comes down to the individual. Remember, Gabriel is the one who came down and gave the message to Daniel. Okay, but Gabriel is not just one entity. Gabriel is an army also. That the head of that army is the high Malach Gabriel. So Gabriel himself doesn't have to come in, but an extension of Gabriel which is also called Gabriel, comes in. Now think of you and I, we have a name, and we're made up of many, many, many cells. But those cells are also have our name. They're part of us. So in the same manner, you have Gabriel, who is functioning as a vessel, but Gabriel is in another body. Okay, he's in another body, but Gabriel has a body also of many, many entities, and one of them comes in because he has been given the instruction by this particular individual. Now we know as Yahshua, but it's a spirit, okay, or he's functioning as a multi-dimensional entity, which could be spirit, or he could come in and function before you and I, looking very physical, okay? So this is who he is. But he is able to tell everybody in the holy place, all those furnishings, he ministers, so he can tell them all what to do. So the showbread, he's going to tell the showbread what to do, but he's going to tell that which is over the showbread table, or the showbread, he's going to tell that one. So he sends Gadal, or Gabriel. He says, Gabriel, I want this. And Gabriel goes and Gabriel moves to do that thing. So now, here comes the voice of the Malach, Gabriel or Gadal, and with the trumpet of Yahweh, which is the message of Yahweh, which is the same spirit that has come from the very, very essence of all creation, the supreme authority. It comes all the way through every dimension, okay? It's there in every density, even though we are not aware of it sometimes. Okay. And it says, and the dead in Messiah will be raised first. Well, the reason why they're raised first, guys, because they don't really have the flesh. Okay? They don't have the things that they have to fight. They're in another world. They're in another dimension. Okay? They can't cross over to our dimension, the third dimensional world. They can't cross over to it, but they could see it. With some people, they can communicate with some people, but they can't communicate with everybody because everybody doesn't have the frequency or the antennas to pick up that frequency. So they can't communicate with everybody. Now, but some people could communicate with them. So they are going to actually wake up higher in vibration, and then those who are still here living, these guys are going to be waking up also. So those other guys are waking up first, and right now it's our turn to wake up. So we are receiving this message, and we're starting to understand what the scripture is talking about. It's starting to open up to us. Okay, we're seeing this. So we are being raised too. So these two are actually being raised up. But the ones who now are going to be individuals who are going to do exactly what Yahshua said to do, these guys are going to be on the right-hand side. That's what they're going to be, the right-hand side. And remember, we looked at Ecclesiastes. It says, a wise man's heart is inclined to the right. Wise. Wisdom. Okay, so if you remember the wise and the foolish virgins, okay, the wise virgins will be accepted. He will say, come on in. And the foolish virgins, hey, there's no place for you because you didn't keep your lamp the way you were supposed to. So the wise man's heart, or the wise virgin's heart, they're inclined to the right because they're going to be on the right-hand side. But the heart of a fool, or the foolish virgins, to the left. The left is not going to inherit, but the right-hand side, these are the ones that's going to be inheriting things. Now, let's go over to Zechariah. Okay, and in Zechariah, we're going to look at Yahshua. Now, this is not Yahshua, the personality that came in during the time of Miriam and Yosef. Okay? This is Yahshua as another personality called Yahshua, which was a high priest. Okay. So, he has to come in, and through a whole bunch of different incarnations, but you could follow him because there is a soul pattern to all of us. So you could, when you go back and look at things, you could follow a soul's pattern, and you know who is who is not. So he was also Yosef, who actually crossed over first, and then the rest of the children of Israel was able to benefit from whatever he had done. But he was sold by them. Well, this was part of this man's soul pattern. Well, he's a high priest now. Well, that was part of the high priest soul's pattern, and his name was Yahshua, which means Yahweh's salvation. So this is Yahshua, a high priest back in the days now of Ezra and Nehemiah in those times. And so Zechariah now is seeing a vision, or, he's getting some messages from Yahweh now. But the message that he's getting, he's getting a message for the high priest at a certain time when that high priest would have conquered everything. But who he's seeing in this dream or this vision is the current Yahshua of his time, the high priest of his time. So it says there here in verse 1, he says, "Then he showed me Yahshua the high priest standing before the Malach of Yahweh." Okay? So this is that high priest. But it's the soul Yahshua as another personality, with Satan standing on his right hand to oppose him. Now, if you're looking, they're in front of the Malach of Yahweh. Okay, the Malach of Yahweh is representing Yahweh and is in the body of Yahweh. Okay, so they're standing in court. Let's say they're standing in court, and on the right hand side of Yahshua, there is something that's there to oppose Yahshua, but it's on his right hand side. But now they're facing the Malach of Yahweh that's on the throne. So put yourself where the Malach of Yahweh is at right now, and put yourself there, and put yourself looking back at them. So when you're looking back at them, Yahshua now is on the right hand side of the Malach, and Satan is on the left hand side, because that's where Satan takes care of his functions with his duties from. Okay, the duties that Satan deals with, or he has been given, is from the left hand side. Satan deals with the fools, and the fools are not people that have brain damage. They're just people who decide not to do what the Father said. The Father says, go left. They're like, man, I don't really feel like it. I'm sleepy. These are the fools. Okay. So we have, Satan could use these. And so he has Yahshua there to accuse Yahshua that, Yahshua is not ready for this. Okay. He's done foolish things too. He has not listened to whatever. But at this particular time, Yahshua would have actually done exactly what his Father said to do. And that's what he said when he came in the last time. He said, the only thing that I do is what I see the Father do, and what I hear the Father, I hear that the Father have done. So we're looking here, and we're seeing the Malach of Yahweh also has the left and the right hand side. Okay? And he's a magistrate in a certain sense, and a judge in a certain sense. And on his left hand side, all those who are not going to participate in what the Father said to do as a burnt offering, they're going to be on the left-hand side with the officer that's on the left-hand side. Now, the right-hand side now, this is going to be Yahshua. And those who are going to be righteous or wise, they're going to be able to function on the right-hand side. But these guys are not necessarily opposing each other. That's how it is set up, as we look at things from the human terms. They don't have to be opposing each other. That's not really what's happening. What's happening is Satan is going to try everything to make sure that it is right to move on. Satan is the flaming sword at the mouth of the garden that is put there to make sure that nothing comes back in unless it goes through that flaming sword. Okay? So Satan has a job. And Satan is going to make sure nothing foolish gets back in there. But if we get back in there, we're going to be we have done our peace offering, we have done our sin offering, and we have truly done that burnt offering. That's what Satan is all about. So if Yahshua had done the right thing, it's all good. But if Yahshua has not done everything, then it's not time for Yahshua yet. Okay? So we have this thing going on here. Now let's go to verse 2. And Yahweh said to Satan, which is the Malach of Yahweh, Yahweh rebukes you, Satan. Yes, Yahweh who has chosen Jerusalem rebukes you. Is not this a brand pulled from the fire? This is someone who has come. You're accusing him, but I got to correct you here because this one is different. This one is coming out. This one has been taken out of the fire. Okay? Now Yahshua was clothed in filthy garments and stood before the Malach. And we all are standing in filthy garments. Our personality, what we like, our desires. No one chooses Yahweh. This is all filthy garments. So Yahshua was covered with filthy garments, okay? And then something happened. And he answered and spoke to those who stood before him on the right-hand side, okay, saying, take away the filthy garments from him. Then to him he said, behold, I have taken your iniquity away from you, and I will clothe you with change of raiment. So this garment, if you look at it, is what's in our personality, our ego, is the iniquity that he had. That was still there, and we have it. You know, some it doesn't show as well because we're overcoming as we go along, and some of us, you know, you could see it very easily because we still have our great weaknesses, or you know, that's happening when we are functioning from day to day. We have really great weaknesses that we have to ask for forgiveness on those things, or forgive ourselves on those things because they keep coming up. These are oppressions by energies that shadow energies that's in our space. Okay, they keep certain things in our minds. Okay, they don't come and possess us. What they do, they keep certain thoughts broadcasting around us, and what we do, we start dwelling on those thoughts. So when those things start happening, they could use those thoughts at any time to get us into a bad mood, so they could feed. That's what they do. They don't have to possess us. This is oppression. They put us in a certain mood so they could have some lunch and some dinner and some breakfast. Okay, the guys that possess us now, we have opened up the space to let them in. And they actually come in and take over the mental space. And now that mental space is going to tell the vessel what to do, because now it's in control of that vessel through the mind. Okay, so we're looking here, and we see that Yahshua now is losing that iniquity stuff that he had, that vessel, okay, or those clothing, and he's going to have new clothing, new personality. Okay, the ego is not going to be functioning in the manner that it was, and now Satan is being told here, no, Satan, this one is ready. This one has been taken out. This is what is called rebuking Satan, okay? Because Satan is going to be trying to charge you with not being ready, and you have to show in the courts that, yes, listen, I am ready. I am ready to move on. And when it is seen that you're ready to go on, then Satan is corrected. It's rebuked in that sense. Now, we're going to move on now. So we see that Satan is on the left-hand side of the Malach of Yahweh, or Yahweh, if you will, say that, and Yahshua is on the right-hand side of the Malach. Well, Yahshua now he has a body that he's going to have. And if you're going to be part of that body, you're going to be either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the Father. Now, the right-hand side and the left-hand side of the Father, it doesn't mean that you're going to be on the right-hand side of Yahshua. Because Yahshua has the right-hand side and the left-hand side, but Yahshua is in the body of Yahweh, and Yahshua, all who are Yahshua's, he's going to be either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of Yahweh. Even though he has left and right-hand side, when it comes to Yahweh, he's going to be on this one side with his body. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at some other scriptures now. And we're going to determine where those who are with Yahshua, where they're going to be. Let's go over to Mark chapter 16. Okay, and we're going to look at verse 19 of Mark. Verse 19. This is, so then, after Yahshua had spoken to them, he was received up into heaven and sat at the right hand of Yahweh. So Yahshua, after he had spoken to the apostles in this manner, he was received into another dimension, and he sat at the right-hand side of Yahweh. Now, if you want to know what's really going on here, if you think of the temple, Yahweh also has a temple, his body. The temple is a body. So Yahshua now is in that body. And Yahshua is going to be functioning in that temple proper as we know that temple to be. The temple has a most holy place, it has a holy place, and the temple has a courtyard where there's a laver and you have the basin that catches the blood, and you also have the altar that sacrifices are made on burnt offerings are made on. Right? So now we've seen that Yahshua is in this particular place right there. But Yahshua is not there with everybody else because everybody else hasn't gone there. But he's in the right-hand side. Now let's go to Luke. No, I'm sorry. Go to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms. Okay, Psalms chapter 110, and we're going to look at verse 1. Psalms 110. Okay, so it goes. Yahweh said to my ruler and king, because David was part of the collective Eve. Okay? Eve was the mother of all living. Remember? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh is the father of the living, not the dead. They were also part of the collective Eve, of which the ruler, David's ruler and king, it was said to him, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. When the enemies have become the footstool, now his body will have been there, and his body has a foot, and his foot is going to be on top of those who are opposing everyone who is going to ascend into that body. The wise virgins who are going to get married to that husband, Yahshua, to be his body. Okay? So David now clearly knows that he's in the spirit here, and while he's in the spirit, Yahweh said to my ruler, his ruler. So when David goes into this body, he has a head. And this head is Yahshua. Or the personality, what we know as Yahshua. Okay? We also knew that personality as Adam, and David was part of that. And many of us, the very same thing. So he's there sitting at the right-hand side of the Father, and he told us, you know the way. I go to prepare a place where? At the right-hand side. So where I'm at the right-hand side, if you do what I'm saying, you could be there with me too. Okay? You'll be my bride. And you'll be there too. And my bride has to follow me wherever I go. And to follow me wherever I go, it has to do exactly what the Spirit in me, which is the Lamb Spirit now, it has to do everything that Lamb Spirit said. So the bride is going to, Yahshua's bride will follow the Lamb wherever the Lamb goes. Yahshua does nothing except for what he sees the Father doing, okay? Because the spirit of the Lamb or the Spirit of the only begotten Son was in Yahshua, and he was the Lamb. Okay? The Lamb in this, our dimension at that time. Let's go over to Luke chapter 22. Okay? Luke chapter 22. And we're going to look at verse 69. Yahshua said here, and he already knew this, he says, "From this time on, the Son of Man will sit on the right hand of Yahweh, the power." Well, if he's going to sit at the right hand of Yahweh, where is the body that he's preparing, or that is being prepared at this point? Okay, where is it going to be? In the body of Yahweh. If he goes to prepare this place, that where he is at, the body will be there too, and he's going to be at the right-hand side of the Father. Where is the rest of the body going to be? Okay, let's go to John. I'm just going to read some scriptures right here to just kind of establish. There's so many scriptures showing where Yahshua is going to be, or where he's at. Okay, chapter 6 and verse 62 of John. Chapter 6 and 62. It says here, "Then what if you should see the Son of Man ascending where he was before?" Where he was before. Well, where was he before? Before he came in as Adam, he was somewhere. Somebody sent him in here. We all fell with him. So now he has gone back to where he was before. Well, where was he? We just got done saying something about where he is going to be going. So if he's going to be going where he was before, and where he said he's going is the right-hand side, well, where was he before? And where was the body that fell? Where were they? Because they were preordained with him. Okay, now let's go to Ephesians chapter 1. Ephesians chapter 1. Okay, and we're going to look at verse, let's go to verse 20. Okay, verse 20. Okay. "Which he exerted in Messiah when he raised him from the dead and set him at his own right hand in the heavens." So he raised Messiah. This is not just the only begotten Son. The only begotten Son came in this man who was going to be was being used as an instrument to save us. Well, we're going to be used as an instrument to save others, and we will be Messiahs too. And in that time, when we come and we function before these people trying to get their consciousness to be raised, they're going to call us gods. That's what they're going to do. They're going to call us gods. Okay? Because we're way above them. We have ascended, and we have the power to come into their place, because it's what it says in Yahshua, they will change. They won't go and when they start functioning with individuals in the earth, they won't sanctify them by their garments, which is a light garment. They will change their garments in order not to mess with these guys that's down there, because they will be having some issues physically if they did. So they change from a light body to a body that looks like everybody else, and they come into the earth. That's their garment. That's their body. That's what they live in. Okay, so we're seeing here in Ephesians now, okay, he raised this from the dead and set him at his own right-hand side. Okay, let's go over to Acts. Let's go over to Acts. Now, Yahshua came, Yahshua did his thing. Yahshua said, from now on, you're going to see the Son of Man at the right-hand side of the Father. Now, we're going to see someone who said he saw, or it is documented that he saw what was in the heavens. Okay? And we're going to take a look at what he saw. So, in Acts chapter 7, let's go ahead and look at verse 55. Okay? And this is the death of Stephen, or, Stephen. Okay, it says, but he being full of the Holy Spirit. Now, there was stone in this man, okay? Because he was telling them what time it was, and they got very upset. And they started to stone him. Okay. But he, being filled with the Holy Spirit, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of Yahweh with Yahshua standing on the right hand of Yahweh. Stephen is not with Yahshua yet. Yahshua is there, and Yahshua's body can't fully function unless it's all together. So there has to be the harvest, and when he gathers those who are going to be in that body, he's going to gather those who will be on his right-hand side, and those who are on the left-hand side are not ready. And they are going to be individuals who are going to be on the right-hand side of the Father, and the Father is going to determine who is going to be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of Yahshua as he pleases, as is pleasing to the Father. So here goes now in verse 56. And said, Behold, I see the heavens open, and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of Yahweh. This is not his physical eyes. Okay? This is a perception in the third eye. This is a perception that you and I are able to gather because it's insight. It's insight, but we're able to see this from a perception of the third eye. It's the same way that Yahshua saw, he perceived this from the third eye. The Spirit of the Father, the only begotten Son, coming in a bodily form. He didn't see this physically. Okay? He perceived this with another eye. Yachanan did too, but nobody else could see it. Yachanan said he was a witness because he was told, whoever you see the Spirit coming to land on, that is he. Well, he saw it, but others were around him when he was baptized in Yahshua. Nobody else saw it because it didn't come out for everyone to physically see that. Okay? It came out as a frequency that the third eye being open could see it, but everybody else couldn't see it at that frequency. And so no one saw, except for those individuals who it was meant for them to see. Okay, so look at let's go to chapter 1 of Hebrews now. Chapter 1 of Hebrews. Okay, let's go to Hebrews. And we're going to look at verse 3, Hebrews 1. And let's look at verse 3. Okay, so here we go now. Who, being the reflection of the perfection of Yahweh and the representation of Yahweh's plan, or the Word, the only begotten Son, by upholding all things concerning that which was spoken by Yahweh through the law, or through the Word, and the prophets, the laws of the prophets here, when he had purged all the errors, and he had made the burnt offering, the sin offering, and the peace offering. When he had purged all of that, notice it's the same thing with us, guys. That's why Moshe set those things up, because when those things were set up, remember what happened. The glory of Yahweh came out of heaven and consumed the burnt offering. So after the same thing happened here, when Yahshua did it, the real way to do it, it says, he sat down at the right hand of Yahweh on high. Well, Yahshua said, you know where I'm going. He said, you can't come right now because you haven't given the burnt offering. You haven't given the peace offering. And you haven't given the sin offering yet. But you know how to do it because I've shown you. So now you do this, and you're going to be sitting with me as I sit at share my Father's throne on his right-hand side. You'll be there with me too. Let's go over to Hebrews 10. Okay? This is the heavens. And these are the authorities that we're being told to look at. Hebrews 10. And we're going to look at verse 36 first. Okay? It says, for you have need of endurance. Every last one of us, because things are not going to be going well every day. Because we want things to go the way we want it to go. However, the Father has another plan that we don't know. And that plan requires us to go the way the Father wants us to go. So we plan everything that we want and how we want it to happen, but if that's not part of the Father's plan, it's going to go another way. Now, we don't like when things go another way than we planned it. So we get all bent out of shape. But we have to learn to accept the Father's will. Okay? So we all have to do this. We have to learn to accept this is what the Father wants. Nothing is coming in this earth or upon me except for what the Father has already put together. That's what we started this series of message saying. So nothing has come down unless the Father has put that together. Or heaven has put it together. Okay? So, but we have to endure. We have need of endurance. So that after you have done the will of Yahweh, making those sacrifices, you may receive the promise. The promise that was made to Abraham, which was not going into Canaan. Okay? That was just a physical manifestation of something that would have a heavenly requirement or a heavenly fulfillment. Okay? So, but he went into Canaan and he did all that he did, but he still didn't see the promise. So, because the promise is not a physical promise. He says, for yet a little while, and he who is coming will come and will not delay. Now the just will live by faith, or the faith. But if anyone draws back, my soul will have no pleasure in him. But we are not of those who draw back to perdition. Perdition, we're not going to go into that now, but perdition are going to be those on the left-hand side. But of those who believe to the saving of the soul. These are the ones that we're dealing with now. So we have to endure. We have to endure before we're going to receive this promise. This promise to sit to be with Messiah. Let's go over to 8. Hebrews 8. Promise to be with Messiah. Remember now, Messiah said, or Yahshua said, what if you see this man, what you see the Son of Man, okay, ascending to where he was before? He wasn't the only one that was there before. Trust me, you were there too. You were there before. Okay, a certain aspect of you is also consciously there also. And this part of you right here is simply a physical manifestation of the part of you that came in this earth to help, to get other brothers out, or others of us who had already previously gotten stuck. Well, we got stuck too. So obviously there's a mission out to save us by the heavenly authorities and to get us back to the place that we were before, to continue doing the job that we were doing. Chapter 8 and verse 1. Now the point of what we are saying is this: we do not have such a high priest who is seated at the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens, a minister of the holy things, that's in the holy place, and of the true tabernacle, look at this, guys, set up by Yahweh and not man, not by Moshe and not by the Levites, not by the children of Israel. No, this is the real tabernacle. The real tabernacle, you have a tabernacle too, but the real tabernacle is a tabernacle that you're going to be going into that you had before. The tabernacle which became fragmented and came into Adam and Eve and then fell. Adam was that high priest. So now we have a high priest now. Adam is back. Not as the personality Adam. And now the thing that needs to come back now is the body of Adam. Which you and I are. To take our place where we were before. These are spiritual authorities. This is what we're talking about here. Now let's go over to Colossians. Colossians here. Now, if you go and you look at the temple, guys, the temple, you have the most holy place, okay? And in the most holy place, or just outside of the most holy place, what you have the altar of incense, which is right outside the veil, right as soon as you get out the veil. And the only reason why the veil is there, okay, because when Moshe was set, when Yahweh was having everything set up for Moshe, he put the veil there because the way into the most holy place, our scripture says, had not been made clear yet. So there's obviously a veil that was going to be there that you just couldn't see in there. But when Messiah came, the veil was rent. Okay? Or something happened to the veil to cause us to be able to see in there and to see what the true will of Yahweh was. Okay, so you have in the temple, right outside of the most holy place, you have the four horns of the altar of incense. And this is where the high Malachim are. Okay? At the right-hand side, what you have is what you call the right-hand side of Yahweh, or the right-hand side of that temple when you're facing the way that Yahweh is facing, which would be west. Okay, you have the lampstand. The lampstand. If you notice with the lampstand, you have someone is in the middle of the lampstand. The lampstand is all light. It's all light. With olive oil. Heavy with the Spirit. Okay? That's what it is. It's a lampstand heavy with the Spirit. It's light. But if one is in the middle of the lampstand, then there is stuff that's on the left-hand side of that one who is in the middle, and stuff who's on the right-hand side. And if you look at the next lamp beside it, it's a little lower than the one in the middle, and the one next to it is a little bit lower than that one, and the one next to it is a little bit lower than that one. Because these are the authorities in which it comes from the one on high. Okay? Now, on the right-hand side, you have the light, and then on the other side, you have the showbread, but all of this is in the body of Yahweh. The body of Yahweh, which Yahshua is on the right-hand side of that, and his body is there. Now, we talked about the higher self, and the higher self functions inside that holy place, and has the high priest, whatever, okay? And that's part of our density that we're going to be going into in the fourth dimension, or the higher density of the fourth density. However, if you go past that, all of those who are functioning inside that holy place, who are individuals, are higher selves, which are individual higher selves, they also are in another body. And this is why you find Yahshua doing the same thing that you and I would be doing now with the higher self. He's functioning in another body, which is Yahweh's body. This is why he's on the right-hand side. And now he's not ministering in there, but he's part of the furnishings in the higher body. Coming down back to us, he would be ministering in that holy place and in the most holy place in that particular body, which would be his. And we would be doing the same thing in that body, but when he ascends into the Father's body, then he doesn't have that authority. Now he's a servant on the right-hand side of Yahweh, being used by the Father in the manner in which the Father wants it to be used. I'm hoping we follow that. Okay, so Colossians now. If we don't follow that, let me know. We'll go back over it and try to clear it up. Okay, so let's go into Colossians now, chapter 3. Okay, and we're going to look at verse 1. So it says, if then you are risen with the Messiah, seek those things which are from on high, where the Messiah sits. Because that's what you're wanting to seek. Okay? At the right hand of Yahweh. Set your understanding and will on things from on high, where he sits, not on things of the earth. For you are dead to the things of the earth, because you live in the things of heaven. And your life is hid with Messiah. Messiah is at the right-hand side of Yahweh, the seven-lamp lampstand. So you're hid in that body. But notice what it says right here, in Yahweh. So there's a body in a body. You are in a body that is in another body. When Messiah, our life will appear, then you will also appear with him in glory. You are going to be waking up, if we have done the right things, and all that is open to Messiah, having received the Logos, the spirit of the Logos on this hour, in our universe, it is all opened up. That's the glory. So when he sits on his glory, on the throne of his glory, then those on his right-hand side, he's going to say, come and inherit the very same glory. We're going to work as humble servants of our Creator, because we're going to be extensions of the Creator. We're going to be on the right-hand side. Okay? That's where we're going to be, on the right-hand side of the Creator. But in our own body, we're going to have a left-hand side and a right-hand side, which the Father is going to determine who is going to be the left-hand side or the right-hand side of that lampstand. Okay. Now the lampstand it has 7. Okay. Well, 7 is a very significant number in its heavenly order. Everything comes to completion in 7, and then it starts over into another octave. Just as music, you have your, I'm not sure what they are, but I think it's do, re, mi, sol, fa. I don't know. But it comes to 7, and then you start off with do again. Okay? I remember way back they used to tell me that stuff. That's the reason why they told me that. But you will start at do, re, mi. You come right back. After 7, you started with do again, because it's moving into another universe, another dimension. Okay? And it's the same thing that you have with these bodies, moving from one body into another body, until everything moves back into the supreme body. The sun is a physical manifestation of a body, another body, which is a spirit body, but is manifesting itself as a body, which is a sun, and it has all its members in the solar system, which are planets, which are physical manifestations of those extensions of that high spirit. Coming down to you and I who are on the planet, okay, we are physical manifestations of our spirits, which is not subject to this world, but you and I, because we have projected ourselves in here, we are subject, and we are fallen. We are subject to everything that's going on right now. But we won't always be, because there's a way out that we have been shown, and if we put the ego into check, we're going to be able to go back out to what we were doing before, just as Yahshua said, where he was before. So were you. Okay, so Hebrews. Let's go to Hebrews 11. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 1. Ephesians chapter 1. You were there too. Okay? You and I were there too. So let's go to Ephesians now. And in Ephesians, let's go to chapter 1 of Ephesians. And let's look at verse 4. Let's go to verse 3. And here it goes. It says, the plan of Yahweh. The plan of Yahweh. Okay. It says, blessed be Yahweh, the Father of our King, Yahshua Messiah. So Yahshua is our King. Okay. Who has blessed us all spiritual, or who has blessed us with all spiritual blessings of the heavens that's in Messiah. Because he chose us with him before the foundation of the world. So when Yahshua said, where I was before, this was before the foundation of the world, okay? He was already there. The world that we have right now, that is, that's not the foundation of every single world. Okay. But there were those who were with him. We were chosen with him. That's the only reason why Adam could come in, and Adam was a body, and then the body got fragmented when the polarity split into different bodies, because souls that was all part of Adam went into these different vessels. And this was Eve. Collectively, they were Eve. And Eve was considered the mother of all living, but Eve didn't go having birth, physical birth with anybody. No. Or having any children physically. No. Her children were her. Those who have moved out of Adam and those who collectively made her up, that was her. She is the woman, and the woman brings forth what? The Son. Who is the Son? The Son is the only begotten Son. This is the Word, the Spirit of the Father. That is what she was supposed to be doing in here under Adam, the high priest jurisdiction, to wake everybody else up who had fallen. That was our job. Well, we didn't do that, so guess what? We fell into whatever they had fallen into because we didn't hold our estate. So we were also put into chains of darkness. But we could come out of that. To come out of it, we have to make those sacrifices. That's what we're looking at here. Okay? We're looking at that. So now in verse 4, okay, he chose us with him before the foundations of the world, that we were to be holy and without blame before him in love. In love. Now, in verse 5, preordaining us to be his children by adoption through, when he says children of his family, but through the adoption of Yahshua's body. or the adoption through Messiah, Yahshua Messiah, according to the righteous pleasures of the Father's plan, the Father's will. So we were adopted into Yahweh's body through Yahshua's body by the spirit of adoption. That's what we're looking at. Okay, and we're going to go to Hebrews now. Back to Hebrews again. Hebrews chapter 11. Okay, Hebrews chapter 11, and we're going to look at verse 40. Okay, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 40. Okay, here we look at, it says, Yahweh, talking about the temple here that we're talking about previously. Okay, and if you have the BOY, it tells you, if you look at verse 30, the subheading there at verse 30 says, they without us will not be made perfect. The two wave offerings. Okay? Those who are not here anymore, that came and did their thing, but we that is Messiah, then we have us. So they won't be made perfect without us, and Yahshua is not going to take his rulership or his full authority until he has a body to work through. Just as Eve was there for Adam to work through. Okay? So 40. Yahweh having provided some better things for us than the temple now, the physical temple, that they without us would not be made perfect. They without us will not be made perfect, because that is going to be the true tabernacle. That is the true tabernacle. That will be the tabernacle of Yahweh. But we will be the tabernacle. We will be the members, the stones, the brick, the mortar, the furnishings, which will be the body of Messiah. However, it will be inside the body of Yahweh. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to look at Revelations. I'm going to have to cut off because I'm getting this signal that the time is up. So maybe after this, we're going to go into one more message, and hopefully that will be the end. But for now, we'll just go to Revelations. Okay, Revelations 3. And after this, we'll close today's message. And we'll get back into it next week. So Revelations chapter 3, okay? Let's go to verse 19. It says, as many as I love, I prove and chasten. This is so we could make the sacrifice. So you're gonna find that there are going to be circumstances and situations that you and I are not going to want, because we want things our way. But the Father didn't plan it that way. Okay? And so when we run into things that are not going the way we want it to go, and we try to force it that way, this is when we are going to find that there's some chastening, because the Father is saying, "This here, you're not going to go that way. You're going to go the way that I need you to go, so you could be part of this body that I'm creating, or that I've already created, that you need to wake up to the fact that you were before." Okay, so here goes now. As many as I love, I prove and chasten. So as you're being chastened, and I'm being chastened and proved, it says here, we have to be zealous, therefore, and repent. Admit that the way that we are doing things is not the right way, and there's another way, the way that the Father said. This way we won't be on the side of the fools, but we will be on the side of those who do what the Father says, which will be on the side of the wise. We won't be the wise, we will be the wise virgins and not the foolish virgins. Okay? We'll be on the right-hand side and not be on the left-hand side that's not ready. So what we're looking at. Okay, so now we're going to read verse 20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Okay, you're not going to hear it from the door, your front door. No, that door is what you and I are going to, it's going to be our perception. we're going to perceive this by things that are happening in our lives, okay, when we allow ourselves to wake up to things that happen around us, and we just don't take it for granted anymore, but things are happening that we have to pay attention to. So here goes now. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice, this is the Spirit that comes to all of us, it's all around us and in us, and opens that door, I will come into him just as I did with Yahshua, okay? Because this is what Yahshua is, the Spirit, that's coming from Yahshua and the Father's throne now. I will come into him, and I will eat with him, and he will be with me. So I will partake with him. Remember what's happening right here now. The priest met with the person who's coming to make the sacrifice at the altar. When the sacrifice was made, this is when you and the person or your higher self, whatever, would get together. Or you and the higher person that Yahshua is talking about here, okay, get together. And in certain sacrifices, you would share that meal with the priest. Okay? And so you will be able to, it's representing you supping with the priest. The priest coming into you and partaking with you, you partaking with the priest, you are eating the same thing. Okay. To him who overcomes, there's no overcoming without making those sacrifices though, I will grant to sit with me on my throne. So you're sitting with me on my throne because I'm a body, and if you're going to sit with me on my throne, you would have to be part of my body. Or we're going to need two thrones. So you're going to sit with me on my throne. That's what he's saying. As I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne. Because he's part of the Father's body. He's part of the Father's body, you're part of his body. And the fact that he's part of the Father's body makes you also part of the Father's body through the fact that you are part of his body. I hope I'm being followed. If I'm not, just let me know, and we'll go over it again. Okay, so in verse 22 now. Okay. He who has an ear, let him hear. Notice what we need to wake up to, what the Spirit says. What the Spirit says. Now the letter of Moshe, it's not talking about the letter of Moshe, because the letter of Moshe is going to lead you to the Spirit. Now don't throw the letter of Moshe out. There's no need to, because the letter of Moshe is going to direct you to the Spirit. Remember, it is a school teacher that points the way. It shows you the way. That's what Moshe is doing. Moshe couldn't do anything more with the minds he was around at that time. He could not. He could only give them a law and show them through the letter of the law how they would be attached to something greater. But he plainly told them, listen, someone is coming. This person you need to listen to. This person is going to baptize you with the Spirit. This very same Spirit right here that we're talking about here. And with fire. The fire, the Malachim of Yahweh, are flaming fire. Okay. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the called out ones of the HOI, the house of Yahweh. The called out ones are the ones who are waking up. How are they waking up? They're waking up by Spirit. Yahshua sends his Malachim into the earth during this time of harvest. The Malachim are spirits. They are the ones who are waking us up. No different than they woke up Daniel to what was going to be happening. It was Gabriel. Yahshua comes with the high Malach Gadol to do the same thing, to give us insight on what is happening, what has been, what is coming. You know, we may not all get it right because it's kind of difficult to kind of translate another language which is non-verbal. okay, is telepathic and try to make sense of it with the English language that you and I have been programmed by, sometimes it's hard and you get the wrong thing. But as you're there longer and longer and longer, it starts to become clear. Because you're getting line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, and then the Spirit is showing you things all around you also. Then you're starting to get it. The message starts to come through clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. So don't worry if you make some mistakes and you didn't get the right thing at first, because it's going to be becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. Okay, so be encouraged. Okay. Hold yourselves and endure, because the time is here and it's time for us to wake up and do what we were doing before.